I missed the HRT boat. Yep, I think I missed the HRT boat. I'm now 60 years old. I've been in menopause probably for 8, 9 years now. And I just feel like I missed the boat when it came to HRT. I've had lots of symptoms. I didn't have a great time with my menopause. I had hot flashes, problems sleeping, panic attacks, anxiety, lots of chronic joint aches and pains, which are actually a lot better now due to my anti-inflammatory diet, which I shared in another video. But I kind of feel like if I had been on HRT from the very beginning, I would have had a much easier time of it. So if I'm really honest, there are 5 things that I'm kind of pissed off about, or at least, more than mildly annoyed. So I'm going to share what's kind of upsetting me just for full disclosure and super honesty about why I feel like I missed the menopause boat. Now, don't get me wrong. I know there's research to suggest that if you're 60 and you haven't started HRT, you can still start an HRT. And for some women, it might still be beneficial. I'm not a doctor, so I'm not going to go into the pros and cons of HRT over 60. But suffice to say that it is still an option for many women, although I think the risks of HRT are amplified once you're over 60. So the 5 things that are kind of pissing me off, or pissed me off at the time when my doctor told me that I couldn't go on HRT was, first of all, I'm kind of annoyed with my doctor. Honestly, I feel kind of like if she had given me different advice, I would have tried it 8 years ago when it would have had the most benefit for me. So, I mean, I live in Kingston, Jamaica. Many of the doctors here are pretty old school. At the time, maybe that was the prevailing science. Many doctors, I think, were advising women against it. But I just kind of feel like, there might have been information available at the time to suggest that it was still an option. So I'm kind of annoyed with my doctor, although I know she did the best she could. So I'm not I'm not really upset with her. I know she was just giving me what she thought at the time was the best available advice that she could give me. So, second of all, I guess I'm kind of annoyed and pissed off at myself. Like, I should have done more research at the time. I should have looked into it. I shouldn't have just been like, "Oh, well, okay, fine. I'll figure it out. I'll do something else." I probably should have looked more into it myself and taken responsibility for my own health and done my own research and not just listen to my doctor and not done my own research. So, if I'm being really honest, I'm kind of annoyed with myself for not doing more research at the time and not checking it out, because I might have found that HRT was an option for me and I could have found a doctor somewhere, somehow, maybe in the US or somewhere, that would have prescribed HRT for me, and I would have had probably the last 10 years of my life or 8 years of my life would have been a little less traumatic. Or a little less of a roller coaster ride. Let me not be hyperbolic. So the third thing that I'm kind of annoyed about, if I think about it, is the fact that all this misinformation came out. There was this big study that connected or suggested that HRT could increase women's risk of breast cancer, and this turned off a whole generation of doctors and a whole generation of women against HRT. And honestly, that didn't need to be the case. If the science community or the research community had not put out this faulty information, many, many women's lives, including mine, would have been very different. So I'm kind of annoyed that that actually even happened in the first place. And, but what you gonna do? But I'm just telling you, it's annoying. It pisses me off. And then the fourth thing related to that is that there's so little research done into women's health issues. I mean, seriously, come on. We need more research done into menopause, but just women's health issues in general. And it sounds like that's not going to be happening anytime soon, but we really need to allocate more money, more funding to research into women's health. And then the last thing, I guess I'm just kind of annoyed and sad for myself that I missed the HRT boat. I mean, I'm not completely 100% giving up on it, but I figure I'm over 60. The risks for me are more now than if I'd started 10 years ago or 8 years ago. And honestly, a lot of my symptoms are much better, much better. I still, have some issues with certain things, especially sleep. But overall, I think I'm doing much better. But, those are the things that kind of upset me and piss me off when I really think about it. And if I'm going to be really honest with you. But if you know me, I like to be positive. I like to look on the bright side of things. I'm an optimist. So, not being able to use HRT did cause me to look for natural ways to manage my symptoms, look at how I could change my lifestyle, look at things that I could change, which I've talked about in other videos. But just to recap, I changed the way I ate, cutting out inflammatory foods, adding in lots of anti inflammatory foods. I became more active, focused on strength training more, really prioritize doing yoga for myself. Even though I'm a yoga teacher, I have to do it also for myself. I also manage my sleep and my anxiety in, better than I was doing it before. So those are some of the things, some of the lifestyle changes that I made to help me to manage my menopause symptoms naturally, since HRT was not an option for me. I also want to invite you. I'm having a Yoga for Menopause masterclass coming up on May 31st. So if you're curious about how yoga can help you, yoga has so many benefits for menopause symptoms. It helps with sleep, it helps with anxiety, it helps with strengthening muscles and bones, it helps with joint pain. So yoga is just one of the best things you can do for yourself if you are in menopause. So I'm going to put the link below to join me. So please let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if I got anything wrong. Let me know if you have any comments. Let me know if you want me to go into any of this more deeply. So hope this helps. Hope you found this valuable, and I'll see you again soon.